So, I guess I'm gonna read a poem. Serena, how are you doing back there?
Good.
Okay. So my name is Sumiko Saulson, and the poem I'm reading is called Killer Romance.
Is it your poem?
Yeah, I wrote it, and I wrote a big stack of books that are sitting up there. Most of them are horror, so I don't know if that's going to be your thing. But I am a horror writer, what can I say? But I do also write poetry, so... And this isn't a horror poem, though it is called Killer Romance. Hello. Killer Romance. People love, you know. We do love, untrue love. And there are puppies and kittens, chubby babies who don't have bows and arrows, all trivialized in February. That was my grandpa's birthday. Because they are now iconic representations of an infatuation more impure than the sweet-smelling rose we chose to kill to represent incense, sickly sweet. I have allergies. It makes me sick. It reeks like a grape-flavored cigarillo. And I know that you know when it lies. I like the natural look of love, you know, the way it is. I said I was tired, and you didn't keep me up all night. Almost like you recognized that I was a human being with needs, like sleep. To me, that is love. But I am not romantic. It makes me sick. Like if sex is good, you don't always have to talk about it. You're too busy doing it. And love is like that. If you do love, true love, not just constantly hot new love, it's real, like a kitten, not a card, like a baby, not a cupid, like a grandpa, not a holiday, like a real live rose bush. It lives because you tend it, like a garden. I water my garden. I don't just write poems to it. Yeah, okay.
Sorry about that, everyone.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, I think he's coming back after he tunes it. A Life of Her Own, a short story by Sumiko Saulson. A Gentlewoman's Agreement. The girl must have been a hard luck case. She was barely 15 but looked 2 years younger. Mostly because she was much too thin, all bones and angles, scrawny arms poking out of two big 10-year-old hand-me-downs. Today she wore a blouse 20 years out of fashion. When the thick-built middle-aged woman at the counter saw it, it made her feel embarrassed. Embarrassed for herself because she still wore the outdated style. Embarrassed for malnourished, undeveloped girl because she must have a bustier female relative somewhere who filled up the blouse right and proper. A fashionable young woman who wore the peasant blouse with a bright red tie that would have sat alluringly over her weighty bosom. On this girl it fit so badly that a set of safety pins held together what used to be a little keyhole peekaboo at the center, because otherwise it would have just hung open on her boy-flat chest. The whole thing fell on her straight and loose, shapeless as pajamas, and she looked like a chicken bone doll wearing a potato sack. Yeah, she must have been a hard luck case. Her eyes were deep set and sallow. Under each, a dark half circle of anemia. The middle-aged woman at the desk wished she could have given the girl a pork chop or an iron pill. But they didn't keep such things behind the counter at the library. And that girl was here every day, reading her books, checking out books. She must have inhaled those books with all the hunger pinned up in that starving little body. Because not 2 days would go by before she would come back for more. Marla really didn't know what to do for the sad-eyed thing, so she quietly scanned the books, waiting for an inspiration, a thing to do that might help. That's when the man came in. "Good afternoon, Miss Marla Bell," shouted the familiar stranger in the door. Ooh, that sweet-talking man that he was, always making her surname sound like it had an E on it. Belle of the Ball. Belle, meaning beautiful. She believed it was all flattery, and she thought all flatteries was a lie, but just then she was wondering if the young lady on the other side of the counter would even live to be old enough to attract the lovely lies of a very good salesman. Not that the library was buying any. She knew he was just there to talk her into setting out some flyers. Just then he stopped. "Why, hello there, young lady," he bellowed, or seemed at least to Marla Bell, who issued hasty reminders that this was a library, and he needed to keep his voice down. But he spoke to the girl, who was staring hard at the box he carried on the crook of one arm. It's no wonder she stared. The box was filled with chocolate candy bars, and in one corner, a round lidless coffee can filled with lollipops. Every lollipop had a little note wrapped around and glued to it as if it were a tiny flagpole. "My name is Earl Johnson," he told her in a mock stage whisper. Marla Bell couldn't for the life of her remember the name of this tall and burly and, in some way, very handsome stranger in the too loud library voice. With the too loud library voice. How's it going, Scott?
Good.
Now that he'd said that name aloud, she intended to use it with what sternness she could muster, given that the man was just as grown as she was, if not more so. He surely did not act it. "Mr. Johnson," she admonished, "that is still not nearly quiet enough, and you should know that the child really should not be talking to strangers." "My name is Lucy Cole," the girl replied, and Miss Bell. She wanted to know more about this strange man, or rather, his box of candy. "Why are you carrying all that candy?" "Why, I am selling this chocolate, Miss Cole, to raise money for the Youth Job Coalition. But if you want candy, these lollipops are free." He fished a purple blow pop out of the can, and that paper on it, that's all you need to know about our upcoming job fair. So if you have a big sister or big brother who might be looking for a job. Lucy boldly, abruptly interrupted. "I am 15 and a half years old, Mr. Johnson, sir, and that is old enough for me to work and have a work permit. And my big sister done been grown and gone a long time now, and they don't need no job. They ain't you." She turned a little red just then because she wanted to speak like a proper lady, like Miss Bell, but she was too full of fire and she couldn't remember how to. "Very well, Missy Cole," Too Loud Earl responded, all bubbles and condensation. "I know a determined girl when I see one, and I bet you do the Job Coalition proud. Now I better let you finish your business right here with Miss Bell so I can have a word with her, if you don't mind." "If it's all just as well," Lucy said with steely calm, "I'd just as soon you conduct your business first. I can wait." With that, she abruptly stepped out of line. It occurred to Marla Bell just then that the girl was one smart cookie. "Fair enough," he agreed, turning to address Miss Bell. "I have these here promotions I would like to leave for the youth that come through here. Now, if you don't mind, I would like to leave the entire jar," he said, pulling out the coffee can, which she could now see had an advertisement on it for the Youth Job Coalition, glued around its circumference. "So we can help them get the jobs they so desperately need." "Don't get me started on that job placement agency you have," Marla said sourly. "With your non-profit license getting the government dollar and getting placement fees for the employees on top of it, and then you get a commission for every child and you register it. I'm no dummy. I know the kids need jobs. I know you aren't charging them directly, so of course I always will let you conduct your business as you put it and leave those flyers, but you know what? We have rules, and you better bring back a flyer that's not connected to candy if you want to leave it here." Earl nodded, reaching into his side bag to pull out a stack of flat flyers that weren't connected to anything. Very well, Miss Marla, he said, dropping the stack on the counter. He shoved it off to the side with the community notices. She shoved it off to the side with the community notices. Seeing this, he was satisfied. He turned on his heel and walked out the door. I know what you're thinking, Lucy told her confidentially. That I'm one of those kids that's going to drop out of school and work full-time down at the cannery or stooped over a sewing machine in the back of a badly lit factory, taking all that money home to my mama and papa to feed the 5 that were born after me. I bet you look at me standing here in these thrice hand-me-downs that were my mom's and then my sister's and then my other sisters, and you think I'm so hungry that I can't think anymore. But I can think. I don't want to be like my sisters, marrying the first man I can, the minute I can, just to get out of the house. Having grubby little kids like me in clothes that never fit. I don't want their lives. I want a life of my own. Marla Bell nodded thoughtfully. The girl must be starving, but she had the self-discipline to stand there with it instead of running out to eat it, to stand there with the lollipop instead of running out to eat it right there in front of her, and the library rules be damned. Miss Cole, she started carefully, I notice you checking out new books every other day. Now, I was wondering, do you read all those books yourself? Indeed I do, the girl said with a mixture of pride and self-consciousness. You see, we only have the one television, and my little brothers, there's 3 of them, all they want to do is watch cartoons, and all I'm allowed to do is watch with them. So I read the books while I'm watching them, and after they go to bed, when it's less noisy, I go to my room and do my homework. Suddenly a look of sheer joy appeared over her face. When my sisters lived at home, we all lived in the same room where the boys do. And Jason, the oldest boy, he had the living room that was a nursery, the little room that was a nursery, but they kept having boys and the girls kept moving out, so now they have 3 boys. And that's why I have my own room. It's a little room though. It's a good thing for me I didn't wind up having more sisters. Okay, this is kind of long. I'm gonna keep reading until they come back and play music. Oh, okay, thanks. Tell me about this one, Miss Bell asked, mulling over all the girl had just said. It was a book she just turned in, Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. It was sad sometimes, Lucy said thoughtfully, but I liked it because I could understand that the boy, his name was Holden, went through difficult things, like how his brother died. Some of the ways he thought about bad things that happened to him were ways of feeling I could understand. But please don't tell my mother that I was reading such a grown kind of book. I only got it because my friend Sylvia said it was banned, and I can't tell you why, really. I don't even want to be like the guy in the book. Marla laughed a quiet little snipped off laugh. She didn't want to disturb the patrons. She asked the girl, oh really, why not? Because he thinks everything good is phony, Lucy replied with a crinkled nose. Everything I think is good. He says it's phony. Yes, I'm sure I wouldn't want to be like that boy at all. Miss Bell didn't entirely agree, but to her it didn't matter. She was really just trying to get a sense of the child's reading comprehension. I noticed you can find the books with the cards in the computer by yourself, so you can understand the Dewey Decimal System? Why, of course, Lucy said, looking puzzled. Well, that's good, Miss Bell told her, pulling a piece of paper out from under the desk and handing it to her. Because I'm thinking we will need a new intern here soon, and you'll be 16 in 6 months, so by the time we need one, you should be old enough to apply. Lucy grabbed the paper and put it in her bag. Thank you, Miss Bell, she said. I better get home now. Marla Bell nodded. Goodbye then, and don't let anyone know that I gave you that early. With that understanding, Lucy turned to go. Saturday's story. Lucy was on the bus when it happened. She was often on the bus by herself, now that the school gave her a free bus pass. When she was younger, she had to walk everywhere, to the store, to the free clothes place behind the church a mile away, where they went to get new used things when the hand-me-downs couldn't be handed down anymore. How's the guitars going?
We're all set.
Okay. Is it okay if they come up and I finish this later?
Yeah, now, is that part of your horror book?
This is an anthology of short stories. And yes, this is a ghost story actually, so,
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's not too scary for me.
huh?
That's not too scary for me.
Yeah, I think people hear horror and they have this like idea horror, but no, it's not all horrible. But yeah, this is only, what is it, $12, and you know, 30% goes to the gallery and 20% goes to Frames for All. And I'm, you know, here and I'll totally sign it if you want it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm interested.
So without further ado, here's Scott Saulson with Hey Joe.
Featuring Sam on guitar.
Oh,
Sam Wilson.
oh, and
Yeah, okay.
Sam Wilson's gonna back him up on this, so hey.
Okay, I haven't played Hey Joe in a long time.
Is this camera focus? Yeah, let me check it out.
I'll give you the mic.